I want you to imagine something before we begin. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that nothing feels exciting anymore. Not your favorite food. Not your hobbies. Not even the people you love. You are not sad. You are not crying. You just feel empty. Flat. Like the color has been slowly drained out of your life. Many of you, if you are honest, have already felt this. And today, I want to talk to you about why this happens, what is going on inside your brain, and most importantly, how it can be reversed. In this video, we will also discuss the solution. We will learn how to get rid of this situation. Let me start with something very important. What you are feeling is not a personal failure. It is not because you are lazy, weak, or broken. It is happening because your brain has been quietly adapting to the world we now live in. To understand this, we need to talk about dopamine. Dopamine is often called a pleasure chemical, but that is not really accurate. Dopamine is better described as the chemical of motivation, anticipation, and wanting. It is what pushes you to move towards something. It is the signal that says, this matters. Go get it. When you are hungry and you smell food, dopamine rises. When you are excited about meeting someone, dopamine rises. When you set a goal and start working toward it, dopamine rises. It is the engine of human drive. For most of human history, dopamine was released in small, healthy amounts from real experiences. Finding food, connecting with others, exploring the world, learning something new, building something meaningful. But now, your brain is living in a completely different environment. Every time you scroll through social media, watch short videos, get a notification, see something shocking, funny, your brain releases dopamine. These platforms are not neutral. They're designed to trigger your reward system as often as possible. They're built by teams of psychologists, engineers, and data scientists whose job is to keep your attention. So instead of a few meaningful dopamine releases per day, your brain may now be receiving hundreds or even thousands. And the brain does not respond to this by becoming happier. It responds by becoming numb. When dopamine is released too often and too intensely, the brain tries to protect itself. It reduces the number and sensitivity of dopamine receptors. This is called dopamine receptor downregulation. In simple terms, the brain turns down the volume. This has been clearly shown in brain scans. Researchers like Dr. Nora Volkow have found that people with addictions, including digital and behavioral addictions, show lower dopamine receptor activity in the reward centers of the brain, especially in an area called the nucleus accumbens. What does that mean for you? It means that the same things that used to make you feel alive now barely register. A conversation feels boring. A walk outside feels dull. Reading feels exhausting. Even your favorite hobbies don't feel rewarding. So you think I must be depressed? Or something is wrong with me. But very often, what is really happening is dopamine burnout. Your brain is overstimulated and under-rewarded at the same time. Now, here is where it gets even more interesting. When dopamine drops too low, your brain does not just feel bored, it feels uncomfortable. So it releases stress hormones like cortisol. This makes you feel restless, anxious, and uneasy. So now you are in a painful state. You feel bored, but you also feel anxious. And your brain knows one fast way to escape that discomfort. Your phone, a new video, a new message, a new image, a new hit of dopamine. So you'll reach for it, not because you enjoy it, but because your brain wants relief. This is how addiction forms. Not through pleasure, but through escaping discomfort. This is why people scroll for hours and then feel worse. The dopamine spike gives a short lift, then an even deeper crash, and the brain demands another hit. This cycle is called reward deficiency syndrome. Your brain is constantly seeking reward but never feeling satisfied. Over time, this leads to emotional numbness. The medical term is anhedonia, which means the inability to feel pleasure. People describe it as feeling disconnected from life, from others, and even from themselves. And let me be very clear here. This is not weakness. This is neurobiology. Your brain has been trained to respond to artificial stimulation, instead of real life. Now, many of you might be thinking, so, what do we do? Are we stuck like this? No. The brain's incredibly flexible. This is called neuroplasticity. It means the brain changes based on how you use it. When you reduce overstimulation, dopamine receptors slowly come back. Studies in the Journal of Neuroscience have shown that dopamine systems begin to recover within weeks after stimulation is reduced. But there is a difficult phase. When you first reduce screens, fast entertainment, and constant novelty, your brain feels worse. You feel bored, empty, restless, and uncomfortable. This is dopamine withdrawal. And many people think something is wrong and go back to scrolling. But that discomfort is not damage. It is a healing process. It is the brain recalibrating itself. During this time, real life starts to feel slow. But very slowly, your brain begins to feel again. Colors get brighter. Music feels deeper. Conversations feel warmer. Motivation returns. Now let me tell you what actually helps this process. Your brain heals when you follow these tips. We will discuss these tips one by one. Number 1. Silence. Silence allows the brain's overstimulated reward system to calm down. When you are constantly exposed to noise, notifications, and information, your brain stays in a state of alert. This keeps dopamine and cortisol, stress hormone, high, which leads to mental exhaustion. Silence activates the default mode network of the brain, the system responsible for emotional processing, self-reflection, memory, consolidation. Studies show that quiet environments increase growth in the hippocampus, the part of the brain involved in learning and emotional balance. In simple words, silence gives your brain space to repair itself. Number 2, boredom. Boredom is not bad. It is necessary. When your brain is bored, it is not receiving dopamine from external stimulation. This forces the brain to start producing dopamine internally again. This is how creativity returns, curiosity returns, motivation rebuilds. Boredom pushes the brain to seek real-world goals instead of digital rewards. This retrains the dopamine system to respond to meaningful activities instead of instant gratification. Number 3, nature. Being in nature directly lowers cortisol and increases dopamine and serotonin. Sunlight regulates sleep cycles. Feeling good. Stay focused. Green spaces calm the amygdala, the brain's fear and stress center. Walking in nature improves attention, emotional regulation, memory. This is why people feel mentally refreshed after being outside. Nature resets the nervous system. Number 4, movement. Physical activity is one of the strongest natural dopamine boosters. Exercise increases. Dopamine is that happy chemical that lifts our spirits. Serotonin is that happy chemical that boosts our mood. BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, helps grow new brain cells. Movement also burns off stress hormones and improves blood flow to the brain, making thinking clearer and emotions more stable. Even walking daily improves motivation and mood. Number 5, real human connection. Face-to-face interaction releases dopamine. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, helps strengthen connections. Serotonin destabilizes mood and reduces anxiety. Digital interactions give small dopamine hits but do not provide emotional safety. Real connection tells the brain, I am safe. I belong. This calms the nervous system and restores emotional depth. Number 6, deep focus. Deep, uninterrupted work retrains the brain to tolerate effort again. When you focus on one task for long periods, the prefrontal cortex strengthens. This is the part of the brain responsible for self-control, motivation, making decisions. Deep focus restores dopamine balance because dopamine is released when you work toward meaningful goals, not just when you get instant rewards. Number 7, sleep. This is sleep when your dopamine receptors get a fresh start. During deep sleep, brain toxins are cleared, emotional memories are processed, reward circuits are restored. Poor sleep keeps dopamine low and stress high, making you crave more stimulation. Good sleep makes everything feel easier and more rewarding. All these things restore dopamine sensitivity. They do not feel exciting at first, but they rebuild the system that allows you to feel excitement again. This is why people who unplug for weeks often say, "I feel alive again." They did not change their personality. It changed their brain chemistry. Now let me leave you with this thought. You are not broken. You are overstimulated. You are not lazy. Your reward system is exhausted. And when you give your brain the space it needs, it remembers how to want, how to feel, and how to live again. That is not motivational talk. That is neuroscience. These are not lifestyle tips. They are neurochemical medicine. Silence, boredom, nature, movement, connection, focus, and sleep are how the human brain was designed to stay healthy. When you bring them back, motivation and joy return naturally. Thanks for watching.